Hey team, welcome to this training section that's going to be talking about the difference between a central calendar and a booking calendar. So inside of this training section, we're going to be talking about the very important difference between what you're going to start to learn as a central calendar versus a booking calendar, and also sometimes known as a scheduler. Now, this can be confusing, so that's why I want you to go ahead and pay attention here over the next couple minutes, because we are going to go ahead and break down what the difference is. Even though they are both called calendars, it's important for you as a new business owner to know what the difference between the two is going to be. So let's go ahead and first talk about a central calendar. What is a central calendar? A central calendar is a software that houses all of your personal and your business appointments, right? So it's going to house both your personal things like your time management, your reminders to yourself, your doctor's appointments, your family's appointments. If you got any kids, your kids' appointments, any date night with your spouse, you're going to have that on there as well. That's going to be on your central calendar, in addition to having all of your business appointments, your meetings, your client sessions, your client meetings, all of that. Now, when it comes to central calendars, there are really two or three big players in the central calendar software world. And this is where it's going to kind of solidify for you, because it's going to sound a little bit more familiar, is that there is going to be Google Calendar. There is Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, which a lot of times people in corporate world will use. And then there is the Apple iCloud calendar, which has gotten a lot of steam as a central calendar over the last 5 or 10 years because it's already inbuilt in everybody's iPhones. And in the US, most people have iPhones, so therefore it's very easy for everybody to use, right? So these are kind of the 2 to 3 really big players, right? And obviously, Outlook is not as popular in the mainstream. Most people are going to be using it for 9 to 5. And then Google Calendar, of course, a lot of people are familiar with that as well. So these are examples of central calendars. And so what a central calendar does is that it acts as really the central hub of where everything gets organized, right? It's kind of like your digital planner. So you're going to have your personal life appointments are going to go on your central calendar. You're going to have your time management, your meetings with yourself, your lunch, your workout, maybe even sometimes if you're going and kind of organizing your time throughout the day, if you have projects to do, that's going to go on your central calendar as well. And then also your booking calendar / schedule appointments are also going to go on your central calendar. So the central planner is kind of like, you can imagine, your go-to place to see, hey, what is going on for the day, the week, the month, to be able to see what it looks like at a glance. It's kind of like the comprehensive overview of, hey, what are my time commitments, both personally and professionally? Okay, beautiful. So that's what a central calendar is, right? So now we've talked about the first part over here. Well, the question is, what's a booking calendar? What is a scheduler? So a booking calendar is a software that's sometimes also known as a scheduler, is a completely different software than a central calendar. And what it is that it's actually a software that helps other people book appointments with you. It's kind of where you can manage you booking appointments with people, right? So this is kind of like, imagine, maybe you've seen this if you've ever booked a consultation call, maybe you've kind of, when you've enrolled in programs, whatever it might look like, it's like, okay, there is a kind of like a page, and then there's a place where the person goes and says, okay, you know what, I want to meet with John Doe on Thursday the 22nd, and then let me go ahead and, select the time. And then this booking calendar actually knows what your availability is, right? It's programmed ahead of time by you, so that way whenever anybody goes to book a time with you, it only shows slots that are available for them to book, so that way there's no double booking and stuff like that. And then obviously from there they go in and enter in their name, their email address, all of that kind of stuff. And so you can think of your booking calendar kind of like the personal assistant that manages your appointments, right? So outside of other people booking appointments with you, it also allows you on the back end to be able to organize, like, hey, cool, so show me, and this is what you can do with a good booking scheduling software, show me all of the appointments that I have booked with, XYZ person. Show me all the appointments that I have booked with certain client, right? So there is a little bit of a client calendar management on the back end that allows you to look at different appointments that are there, right? And so when somebody meets with you, instead of, hey, directly calling you, they just talk to your assistant, which is your booking calendar, and then the calendar is going to show them, hey, what is all the availability? And then they can automatically book without even having to check in with you for every single meeting, right? So that way you can make sure that you're not getting double booked. And then on top of that, the booking calendar can actually reference and can actually look at your central calendar, so it can make sure that it doesn't overlap with your doctor's appointment, with your workout time, with your lunch, with, when you're getting off of work. All of that is connected together. Now, when it comes to booking calendar softwares, there are hundreds of different booking calendar scheduler softwares that are out on the market. And so this is why it's going to be very important for you to listen to us as we walk you through setting up this system system. So that way, when we actually talk about integrating your booking calendar and your central calendar, when we talk about integrating your scheduler and your central calendar, right? You can make sure that it actually all works together. But for right now, don't worry, we're not going to talk about the booking calendar and what software to use and all that kind of stuff. For right now, I just want you to know that there are quite a few on the market. A lot of people are familiar with Calendly, Vagaro, right? Acuity scheduling, right? It's another one of those software that is going to be in the software stack, whether that's Calendly, Vagaro, Mindbody, whatever. It is going to be one of those softwares that is in that starter software stack that we've been talking about. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is the difference between your central calendar versus your booking calendar or your scheduler, right? So you got your, let's say, Google Calendar, or you got your Client Kit. They serve two completely different functions, but they are both critical and they are both very important. And so when we talk about how these two actually work together, we kind of already hinted at this, but I'm going to go over this very quickly for you, is that they do work together. This is why it's very important. What we're going to do in just a second is help you get your central calendar set up properly. So that way, then in the next training, we're going to go ahead and walk you through getting your booking calendar set up, aka your scheduler. And the reason why it's very important to make sure that you have this set up properly is because unless you get your central calendar set up properly the right way, only then are you easily going to be able to go ahead and manage and use your booking calendar along with it, right? And so, like we said, your booking calendar, your scheduler, your business scheduler needs to integrate with your central calendar so that way you can manage everything very easily. So that way your central calendar is going to act kind of like the central place where all your appointments are going to go through. But then because it's integrated with your booking calendar, when people go in order to actually go ahead and book with you on your scheduler, it's going to easily be able to work together with your central calendar. Now, don't worry. It's super easy to do. We're going to walk you through it because you're following a system. But again, I'm just going ahead and giving you the high level overview, head above the water, head above the tree, so that way you understand exactly how all of this fits together and how all of this works. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and in this training, we're actually going to be walking you through all of the central calendar setup properly. Okay. So let me go ahead and remind you, remember we have trainings and then we got training sections. Right now, you are in the first training section of the calendar management training. So in the calendar management, in the calendar training, the business calendar training, we're walking you through all of the training sections to get your central calendar set up. Okay. So you're going to go ahead and follow all the training sections that are inside of this training. And then in the next training, we're going to have a different training that's going to be all about the booking calendar and all of the training sections related to the booking calendar. The scheduler is also what it's called, right? So you might see that term thrown around here as well. So we're going to go ahead and walk you through the scheduler training later on. But for right now, in this entire training, we're going to first focus on getting your central calendar set up. So that way you have it set up properly and the right way. Okay. So this is what it's going to look like. We're going to go ahead and focus on first getting your central calendar set up. And then after that, we will go ahead and move over to the booking calendar. And so if you have never officially learned how to actually use a central calendar for the purposes of business, your life is about to change inside of this training. And then on top of that, if you are one of those people, because some people have had experience with central calendars in the past, if you have used maybe Google Calendar in the past, right? This training is still going to be absolutely critical for you. Do not skip the training sections inside of this training, because what it's going to do is going to help make sure that you set it up properly. So that way, once we actually get to the scheduler training, it actually integrates. Because remember, the point of all of this is making sure that you have a simple, elegant business platform system and strategy. And so that's why even if you have used Google Calendar or a central calendar in the past, you don't want to be like, oh yeah, cool, let me just go ahead and skip over to the scheduler. You want to make sure you set it up properly so that way it integrates with the entire system. And there's some very specific things that we're going to walk you through in terms of creating day events and creating night events, so that way it works very well and shows your availability properly on the scheduler once you actually get there. So let's go ahead and now walk you through getting your central calendar set up, because it's going to make you so much more productive and organized in your life in general, even outside of business. It's going to have a major impact on how focused you are and how you get things done. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and jump into the next immediate training section that's going to be walking you through, hey, how do real business owners manage their time? Which central calendar software are we going to use? And then what is the step-by-step of that? That is what we're going to go ahead and talk about in the next immediate training section. We will catch you over there.